they were just starting to treat pneumonia. And I can remember coming back and they were using the sulfa drug of pneumonia when I was in school, and what a wonderful thing it was. And now we have antibiotics. That's made a big change.
Do you remember when the first time that you were aware of penicillin, or that it was brought to your attention?
Well, we got when it on ship, we never got any, but we heard about it. And of course, when I got back to Great Lakes, I was on a scarlet fever ward, and I well remember. I can tell you a story about that. It came in and it wasn't, penicillin now has a Novocaine in it, or Procaine in it, and it was the old yellow stuff, and you had to take it every 4 hours, and we give it those carbonate, roll over and we'd give them a shot, and boy, that really got sore, and I just give them a little sympathy and didn't think too much about it. We just had to do it. And I got the sore throat, and they started doing that to me, and I had a lot more sympathy after that. That Corbin come in every 4 hours and give you a shot, and your thing that really hurt. There was no Novocaine in it or anything. But that it just started coming in when I got back from the Navy, where it was readily available. Well, the best thing about a rural community, you know the people. There's a lot to talk about. You know, the definition of a small town. Not much to do, but lots to talk about. And then you also, the other is on a small town, as you know whose check's good and whose wife isn't. Well, at one time you did every little bit of everything. It's kind of changing now with transportation more and so forth. Now the rural doctor, it's like Andy Rooney says, it's like a rural doctor. All he does is just tell you to see the doctor that does something. But at one time you did everything, and if you notice the front office out here, that door is never locked. I mean, that's a hangover of when they didn't have phones all over. They could come in and call you on the phone. We didn't have pay phones, and this room was always open. We've had babies delivered out there, and had one woman that she'd come over, had a bar across the street. She'd come over here when the bar closed, and then when the girl came in the morning, she'd get up and go home, but she slept in there. And we've had babies delivered in the office and so forth. And one of my favorite stories I tell, they used to have telephone operators. And I got up one day and came down here, and they didn't show up. I couldn't remember just who it was, and I called up the telephone operator and said, "Miss Stiers, who in the world called me this morning?" She says, "Doctor, you haven't had a call all night." And I apparently dreamed of, got up, put my clothes on, came down to the office to take care of somebody. This door here is always open. Haven't had any trouble except one day, Fast Eddie stole my television set and ran off with that. He's one of the local boys. And we took care of everything. Anybody had a problem, they called the doctor. I had one of my kids call up and tell me his pony was loose out on the highway. What did he do? And the folks were gone. So we had to take some people out of the office and go out and round up the pony. Another one I like to tell about the old gentleman being nice to me at Christmas time, and he came in and told me he had a goose, and the weather was cold, and I said, "Well, that'd be fine, just put it in the car." It never crossed my mind that it was a live goose. So he put the live goose in my car, and it really goosed my car pretty good.